right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I am, as always, your grateful host, Cam Williamson. Great to be back with you. Take two, baby. As you guys see, I got water with me this time. The first one was going a little rough. My voice was all hoarse and scratch. I don't know why. I kept clearing my throat. It was bad. Let me speed right through the sad stuff. We had a sad incident this past week. The dog that I had for about 4-ish years while I was in my second marriage was the first dog that we had together. I did not live with this dog for like the last 2 years. She lived with my ex, and when my daughter stays over there, she lived with my daughter. And my daughter was very close to her. Well, they had to put that dog down this past week. And it's very sad. It is very sad. I lived with that dog for a while. I don't connect with dogs and stuff like that to where, like, when they have to pass on, my whole world is rocked by it. I acknowledge the sadness, and for sure I cried a few times just thinking like, oh man, there were so many times like when I was sitting alone in my house by myself and that pup would just like be snuggling with you and stuff, and you're like, man, that does make you sad because they do have pure hearts and stuff. But again, she didn't live with me, so it's not like it was my dog that passed away. But I do now have a more empathetic look at people who have to go through that situation, because it is very sad. It's very sad, you know. Especially I see my daughter. She talks about it like she's used to coming home and seeing her, and now she's not there. So like when she comes here, she's not used to seeing an animal because I don't have one. So that doesn't change her life a whole lot when she comes here. But I think when she goes back to her mom's, she expects to see both of the dogs that they have, and now there's only one. So I say all that to say a new reason to be empathetic and caring towards people, because you never know what they're going through. But this episode, we are talking about the Get Back. What's the Get Back? If you're fans of James Brown, which I am, not a fan of his personal actions, but his music, he's a big fan of the Get Back. What's that, man? Just getting back to your life. Something happened. Something knocked you down, but it's time to get back to the get back, right? Get back on the straight and narrow, or get back to who you know you are. Get back to living life. I think it's so important when you get knocked down. The new get back for me is try something else. Don't try the same thing you've already tried. Don't go back and be like, how can I tweak this, or how can I fix that? Let things be what they were. Especially once you get past a certain age, I think 30 is a fair age to say this. Stop worrying about what you could have changed and start worrying about what you can change in new situations. And I've started taking a real inventory of like all the things I swore off for so long, right? Because all the things that I swore off, like I started doing recently, playing golf, right? I got my first golf outing. I'm playing this Saturday with my cousins on the side of town that we grew up on. And like, I don't play golf. I've always said, oh, golf is boring. I don't do that. I don't do this. I went out last week with a buddy of mine, played 9 holes of golf, and it was like I did pretty well, and it was fun. And I was like, well, damn, look at all this time. I could have been actually like trying this and doing this and making friends. There's a huge community in it. As soon as you start talking about golf, you could make 9 different friends and meet different people and stuff. So like, if you're sitting around bogged down by all the shit that didn't work, try something new. If you're only not trying it because you're afraid that you're not going to be good at it or it's not going to work, well, guess what? All the other crap hasn't worked for you either. Those old relationships, those old hobbies, those old things you were doing, those didn't work. So go be a better version of who you were and just be that for the new situations. You don't have to sit around and try to impress people, or you don't have to sit around and try to prove people wrong or get revenge on people. I see very little value as a grown adult in trying to prove to someone else what your value is. Because here's the simplicity of why it's important to get back to the get back. And I'm sure you guys don't like it when I say that, but I've been listening to James Brown a little bit today. Why is it important? Because it's so easy for us to fall into a stage of life where we go, I'm good, right? I'm good here. things aren't exactly what I want, but I've got someone to lay next to every night, and I've got food that I can eat every day, and I got a job I can go to, and my kids are pretty good, and like things are okay. But then you take one step in one direction or the other, where maybe an unexpected finance comes up, or in the opposite direction, you start trying something new. Well, then you meet new people and they make you see something a different way, or you enjoy something. And maybe you haven't enjoyed something for a long time. And that one little spark is just enough to change your mind for that day, and you have no idea the ripple effect that has going into tomorrow. Where if you just get a little bit of motivation today, that might be the new reason you get up in the morning when you weren't going to. It might be the reason that you stay focused on your health and, for me, like with this whole golf thing, like it's scary for me to think about going and doing something that I don't do around people that I don't know. And, my cousins will be there, but like I haven't seen them in years. So like it's going to be a bunch of their friends and shit. So it's weird for me to go and be so vulnerable and be like, I'm going to go do this thing I'm not good at with people that don't know me. But it's like, or I can do the same thing I do every weekend, which is sit inside my apartment, probably create another show, and wait for, me to figure out what my nighttime routine is going to be, and then, fall asleep and wait to go to work the next day. It's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to live this like, oh, what could have been kind of life, because a few things just didn't work out. And here recently, I've been really thinking about it a lot of you guys, the messages you guys send me and the things that you guys are going through. And I've been it's been pressed on my heart to tell you guys, like, there's nothing more important than the choice to make the decisions for yourself that are best for you. You have to strip away every other idea that you have that being good for other people means anything to your life until being good for you means something to you. And notice what I said. You have to understand that you have to want, not pretend to want. You have to learn to want the best for yourself first, because you only then will you realize, once you start doing that, that is how you have any chance at all of being good, let alone your best for anyone else, and that includes your children. Because I promise you, and I have had conversations with both of my daughters in the past week where both of them have said, Dad, I love you. First off, that's a big thing for my 8-year-old. Second, they've both kind of been like, Dad, especially my youngest recently, like, whatever you're doing, okay, like, all right. Because it's fun to be around each other again. It's cool. It's not anxiety filled, and it's not like I have to figure out how I'm going to manage from this time to this time because I'm so stressed out that I'm doing everything wrong. It's like, no, man. I'm showing my kids it's okay to try and fail. I'm showing my kids it's okay to have friends. It's okay to go and take time for yourself. It's okay to be healthy. It's okay to like see your dad eating a full meal and be like, wow, Dad, you're eating a lot. My kid's favorite thing to do right now is point out the improvements her dad is making. Wow, Dad, good job, you're eating. Wow, Dad, good job, you slept. Because, when she's with me, I'll let her sleep in my bed. Dad, you look like you got good sleep. Like, she's now learning. Like, Dad didn't take care of himself very well. And I had to tell her that. Did you see the downfall of how your dad was behaving and how I wasn't always, being the best? And she goes, yeah, Dad was sick for a while. And I was like, yeah, Dad was sick for a while. I said, but how does Dad look now? And she goes, you look strong. I said, well, there you go, baby. Daddy's on the get back, and it's hard because when your kids are so young, you do have to protect them from a lot. But I have to realize my kids are not that young anymore. They'll be 9 and 6 this year. The days of protecting them from this world are over. They're not on Bambi legs anymore. Their eyesight and their hearing is fine, right? I know we're the only mammals that coddle our young until they're 18, but, mine are getting close, and time is going fast, and I'm trying to let them know it's okay to go off and be your own person. And what's causing me a lot of anxiety lately is, I'm not always going to be there to protect you. I'm not always going to be there to do everything for you at your, want and convenience. Because I do. I enjoy taking care of my daughters. It makes me happy to wait on them hand and foot. I don't care what a parenting book would say about it. I don't care what their mothers or their teachers would say about it. I enjoy it. It makes me happy. It makes me happy that they know when their dad's around, you don't have to get up for nothing. I got you. I'll make you whatever you want. Your comfort and happiness is my only thought. Now, there are guidelines around this, and we're not going to go insane all the time, but typically, dad's here to make you happy, right? And that can't happen when your mind is filled of anxiety. That can't happen when your mind is worried about what's this person doing or what's this person not doing or why am I not important enough to this person. It's like the little person sitting on the couch, I'm the most important to them. And I see it because when I pick them up from school, my daughter, my favorite thing in the world is almost, if I'm not working, every day when I pick her up from school, she runs without saying a word to her friends, not bye, not see ya, not nothing, arms wide open, Daddy! And here recently, our thing has always been, Daddy always comes back. I'll always come back. No matter what, even if I have to be gone for a couple days or whatever, I'm always coming back. Always. Well, here recently, I pick her up a little earlier than she's used to being picked up when she's not with me. So she goes, I knew you were going to pick me up early. And it's like, I always have. But this new consistency that she's getting out of me where I don't just pick her up at the bare minimum time to pick her up, take her straight here, lock us both in here. We sit here, okay, bath time, bedtime, sleep time. You stay in your bed. Everything's very strict. Okay, wake up, go to school. I was getting to a point where I was in such a survival mode. I was putting my kid in a militant survival mode of blandness. And I was watching her spark go down as mine dwindled. And that's where I will always believe, it is better for your children to see two happy and healthy parents, even if they are not together and live in separate houses. If you want to know, ask your kids, because I have. Do you like it better this way? And when they say yes, I like it when you're happy, you have to go, okay. Okie dokie. I got it. You bet. Okay. And then you can choose to look at the negative sides of that, where if you're just starting that process, you have to restart, you have to get a new place, and you have to, oh my gosh, you have to spend, and I'm not saying, oh my gosh, as I'm not taunting you and I'm not making fun of you. I'm not downplaying it. Those first few nights, those first few weeks, those first few months that you sleep alone for the first time, dude, ouch. Ouch. Most people are not strong enough for it. Most of y'all got that hidden contact, that Snapchat contact, that Instagram friend, that friend from work, that person that as soon as shit goes awry, you're, hey, what up, G? What you doing? And if they don't hit you up with new number, who it is, you going, how you done? How you done? I've been thinking about you. That's how I usually start done it. I've been thinking about you. Oh, yeah, for what? I've been thinking about we should go hang out. We haven't hung out in a long time. If you ever hear somebody say we haven't hung out in a long time, that means I've been keeping you in the back of my head for when my situation goes poor. That's what that means. Which also means I have very little respect for you. Because I'm just cool to let you go and live your life completely non-attached to me or whatever. And I'm just going to put out my single back signal whenever. That's what most people do. Because that doesn't hurt as bad instantly. Trust me. The get back on that one is just as equal. Because I promise you, you start doing stuff like that, you're going to end up one day looking over and going, damn, I did it again. I'm with somebody who's expecting all this stuff from me, and I don't even like them. Why? Because I just went from one to the next, to the next, to the next, back to, jump forward to 3, back to the last one, and you're like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. All because what? You're afraid that you might be a good time all by yourself? You know what's a lot of fun? Sit around and go, oh, I'm an adult. I could do whatever I want. Oh, that favorite movie I have from when I was a kid, I could watch that, stream it. I could, for dinner, you know what I want to have? Oof, I'm going to be healthy tonight. Beef and broccoli. Not the healthiest, especially if you got high cholesterol like your boy. But you can do that. And then, if you want to take yourself out for ice cream, you can. After your ice cream, if the sun's still out, because in Ohio it is here until like 10 o'clock now, you can go take a walk after that by yourself. You can. And guess what happens? When you go and do these things, you meet people when you go out. And they go, well, what are you doing here at this time? And you go, well, whatever I want. And they go, me too. You go, well, that's cool. And either you can, choose to engage in a new conversation / relationship with somebody, whatever. Or you could be like, okay, have a good day. The world opens back up completely when you stop living so small. Waiting on what is this person going to say? What is this person going to think? What's that person? Who gives a damn? Especially if they're not hitting you up going, hey, would you rather be doing this with me? You're like, meh. And show people. Show them. Here's one of the worst things I think growing up mentally I took on, which is it's not okay to show people that you're happy. I'm not saying you got to flaunt it. I'm not saying you got to pretend. I'm not saying you got to make this big, what's the word that's not coming to my head? Projection. There it is. You don't have to project like, look at me, I'm happy, I got my shit together. None of us have our shit together, and I think happiness is a fleeting thing that we either touch on a couple times a day or we don't. Nobody walks around ecstatic all day long, especially in today's day and age. But if you're enjoying yourself, document it. If you're doing something that's bringing you some kind of happiness and fulfillment, share it with somebody. Let them know. You don't know. They might go home and not think about that at all, but sit on the couch and be like, I wonder what it would be like. And then maybe you planted some kind of seed in this person's head, but you have no idea. And that's one thing I'll tell you too, is a part of getting your life back on track is start looking for other people to help. Look for people that need guidance, that need physical help, that need assistance in something that you can actually help them in. And then you'll see, once you start looking for other people to be of service to, you don't start looking at everyone as, oh, I'm such a bother when I need help. Because you realize how good it feels to help other people, that as long as you're not being ridiculous, right? It's actually kind of nice to be like, hey, I'm not a good golfer. Can you help me? Do you have any good videos? And then you realize you just made this dude's fucking day because he's just been waiting on someone to send golf videos to. It's like ding, 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 ding. And you're like, oh, okay. And then a friendship form. And you're like, oh, you're not always a bother. You're not always an inconvenience. You're not always in the way to people that aren't just bothered by your existence and don't just want to see you flail around for their own enjoyment. I'm done with that, man. I got so many people in my life that I wished for so long that the life and the things I'm doing today we could possibly be doing them together. Because I had put this mental movie in my head of like all the cool things we would be doing if all the cool stuff, all the fun, all the laughs, all the amazing days, all the secrets that only we would know about. Like, I thought about so many things. And the second I removed like the image of someone else being there and go, that's still possible. You just have to be open to it. You have to remove that one element and then go and live life. And I'm not going to sit and lie to you and be like, that instantly all your hopes and dreams change. They don't. But once you start stockpiling good memories in your head, and then you start setting plans for things to do tomorrow, next week, whatever, you start imagining new dreams, new possibilities, new whatever. And then you don't sit around and have to go, well, that would be fun if I could get a beer or two, right? Well, I would have fun here if I could just have a couple beers to take the edge off. You can just go have fun. And you don't have to have fun with a specific person. Hell, you don't have to have anyone with you. You can just go have fun. Go do whatever your heart tells you you want to do that day. And if you're supposed to be at work, take that ass to work. Make the money so that way when you're off, you can go do whatever the hell you want to do. And if you have your kids, do whatever you want to do with them and show them the things you like to do. So that way they have influences. That was one thing I realized too. Like I was stealing my kids of having any memories of their dad. What'd your dad do? Nothing. Sat around on the couch. He went outside every couple hours and he'd come back in. Yeah, he was always there and he'd put us to bed, but he didn't do nothing. He used to fight and he used to do this, but I was too young for all that. Now, I can show my kids, like, this is what your dad does. This is what I'm doing when you're at school. They know I have YouTube and stuff like that, and I think they both watch it, even though they're not supposed to. But they do. And it's like, that's why I'm always very honest on here. Because everything that everyone has ever said about me around them and their lives, like one day they'll put it all together. They'll see, and they'll see where I fucked up, and they'll see where other people were not acting in their best interest, and they'll see where, they didn't act in their own best interest. It's life, baby. I'm just here to document it. Having a good time. I hope you guys are doing well. Things have been kind of crazy. The weather's been kind of nuts. Recently, been getting a lot of rain, a lot of heat waves coming in, and cold fronts moving in. A lot of weird stuff going on. People are acting wild out in traffic, it seems, all the time. Got a bunch of, just had a lot of cool time with my family. That was great. Trying to end on a high note here, and we got some good time coming up. Planned out where it seems like we're all going to get some good time together. I hope you guys are doing the same. I hope everyone's staying safe. I forget to say this all the time, especially if you guys make it to the end. Hit a thumbs up. It helps out a lot. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of the show. Let us know what you want to talk about in the next one, and I will see you in that next one. Love you guys.